actually available were single-day tickets open until Monday, May 19th. So that would have been the Monday leading up to the opening of the park on May 22nd. We know that May 3rd, May 4th are already sold out, and we were trying to get in to see what other dates might be available or what kind of showed at the latest, but you're still seeing some wait time. It looks like, let's see if I can pull that down. It looks like about 13-minute wait time still before we can get in for the tickets there. So be prepared if this is something you're interested in to wait a few minutes in the queue before you might be able to access tickets. Unclear, again, what the capacity might be for that, as Theron was talking about, a lot lower capacity than it's going to be when the park actually opens. So certainly something to be aware of if you are trying to get those tickets for the previews of Epic Universe that before were limited to pass holders, team members, but now anyone can get on and order those, again, between $144 and $154 per day for those single-day tickets. So a lot of excitement for that. We know a lot of folks waiting in line now to get those tickets. Give you another live look here at Epic Universe. It is a beautiful Tuesday afternoon here in Central Florida, and folks out there making the most of it at Epic Universe. Well, that's going to do it for us here on Florida Live. Been a busy show here today. What did we have? 5 interviews, something like that. So a busy show. We appreciate you joining us today and every day at 2 o'clock here on Fox Local, fox13news.com, fox35orlando.com, and also on YouTube. We'll be back here tomorrow at 2 o'clock for another live hour of Florida Live. But as we wrap up here, I'll go ahead and send you back to that live.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Good afternoon to you and welcome into Fox 35 News Plus. I'm Garrett Wymer, and thanks for joining us on this Tuesday afternoon live on Fox Local, fox35orlando.com, and also on YouTube. It is 4 o'clock. That means it's time for today's Top 4 at 4, where we break down 4 of the big stories that we're tracking in the Fox 35 newsroom this afternoon. And joining us for today's Top 4 at 4 is Fox 35 News anchor and reporter Marlisa Goldsmith. And Marlisa, we appreciate you joining us.
Absolutely. I almost feel like you need some theme music when it comes to Top 4 at 4. We need something to play right there.
That's why you're here. I thought you were going to sing us our Top 4 theme song.
Well, Garrett, we don't want people to tune out now, do we?
I guess not. We'll work on that music. That's a good idea. We'll see what we can come up with.
Yeah, we can do that.
But let's start with story number 1, and that was learning some more about the steps forward when it comes to the potential for abolishing property taxes here in the state of Florida.
Yeah, this story continues to develop throughout the week. Well, today, House Speaker Daniel Perez announced an intensive study of property taxes. House Speaker Perez announced that he's creating a select committee on property taxes that would craft a proposed constitutional amendment that could be passed by lawmakers at the start of next year's session in January and then head to the ballot in November of 2026. Now, Perez offered 5 different proposals to start the discussion. They are right here on your screen. Take a look. Require localities to hold referenda on taxes, services, a new $500,000 homestead tax exemption, authorize state legislature to raise homestead exemption amount, enhance property assessment limitation cap, and ban government from foreclosing on homesteads for unpaid taxes. Now, you all might remember Governor Ron DeSantis floated the idea of abolishing property taxes here in Florida. But in the remarks made today by the House Speaker, he took a shot at the governor for not coming up with his own detailed proposal when throwing the idea out there.
Yeah, he said it's been a while since the governor kind of first talked about this, but never really gave any concrete ideas. And so what the speaker said is he kind of came up with those 5 proposals you mentioned in hopes that they can kind of be a springboard for further discussions that the select committee will have, because he said for this to work, for us to move forward with this, we have to have details and specific proposals, because there are local governments that are going to need to know what the specifics are, so they, so the plans can be made, because that's revenue that's going to be missed out on. And so that's one of the things that the House Speaker talked about, the importance of doing this in this process and this fashion.
Members, one of the things I have learned about our committee process over the years is that our process is most effective when we can build our conversations around specifics rather than generalities. In other words, saying property taxes are bad isn't the basis for developing a plan. All ideas are welcomed. All voices are invited to be heard. This process is not about ego or pride of authorship or credit. This is about bringing the very best proposals before the people of Florida so that they have an opportunity to decide their own fate.
And so these select committee meetings will begin this week and meet through the summer, meet through the fall, because like you said, the goal is to have a resolution ready to go for that first week of the session in January that they can pass, and then it would be on the ballot for voters to consider in November of 2026. Also interesting to note in this, we talked this afternoon with Kimberly Leonard, a Politico reporter on Florida Live this afternoon, and she was saying she had some insight into how the governor and the governor's camp was responding to this announcement from House Speaker Perez.
From the governor's allies and comments on social media, they were not happy about this. This was a huge priority for the governor. He wants to see, he said he wants to see property taxes abolished altogether. I do get the sense that he would accept any kind of a win that reduces property taxes. But this is, it represents a little bit of a give by Perez to say, by the House Speaker to say, let's try to meet you halfway, but still not something the governor is happy to accept, it seems like to me, from what I've seen so far.
So even a little bit of a pushback from the governor's camp, according to reporting from Politico. So we'll see where things go from here, but sounds like things are going to ramp up pretty quickly when it comes to the formation of this select committee.
Yeah, we're in April, so in theory it seems like it's a ways away, but it's really not. I don't know about you, but it seems like the year is flying by.
Yes, it really is. And when you're talking about something that's complicated and that has as many implications as this, I'm sure it's going to take a while to work through all of that and make sure there aren't going to be unintended consequences, or at least mitigate those unintended consequences, because there are just going to be a lot of effects from this. And so a lot of different issues, I think, to probably work through. So probably a good thing that if they're wanting to have this done, and
they're starting now.
That they're starting now. That's right. Meanwhile, also in Tallahassee today, a water fluoride ban now heading to the governor's desk. Yeah,
now this is something that we've been talking about since last November, actually. Today, the Florida House gave final approval to a bill that would prevent local governments from adding fluoride to water supplies. The bill passed 88 to 27. The Senate passed the bill back on April 16th, and it's now ready to head to the governor's desk. Now, I brought up November. You may remember back in November, Surgeon General Joseph Ladapo issued guidance recommending against community water fluoridation due to risk associated with fluoride exposure. Since then, several of our local counties, we've reported on them, have voted to remove fluoride from their water supplies, but there are a good share of dental professionals who have spoken out and lawmakers who are completely against this. But again, a major step here today with the Florida House giving its final approval for this bill to prevent local governments from adding fluoride to their water supplies.
And this, you mentioned the debate. This is something that's been ongoing, and there was a lot of debate even today on the floor of the House trying to get the portion of that, because this was part of that farm bill that had a lot of other different provisions as well that many lawmakers seem to be in support of, and they were trying to pull this provision out of that and consider it separately, but did not end up happening. I want to play for you a little bit of this debate on the floor today as this, because this was another big subject. This was a topic of debate when this bill was in committee, when it was passed by the Senate, and again today when it was passed by the House.
Does the government have the right, by a mere simple majority vote, to put medicines and drugs and chemicals into your body that you did not consent to?
At the current levels of fluoride, it's very, very low. And it not only is it safe, it's a game changer for dental health.
Does the government...
Sorry, I accidentally had that on loop there. But just a lot of debate about this. And will no doubt continue to be, but this kind of takes the question off the table for those local governments, because we've seen a number of different communities around the state make this decision in the last little bit, but this would obviously settle that if it is signed by the governor. We should note that fluoride is naturally occurring in water, just in varying levels depending on where you live, and so there are some places that have levels of fluoride in their water without having to add it. So just interesting that it's still going to be something that will have different impacts depending on where you live, even with this kind of blanket policy at this point.
Absolutely.
Well, story number 3, and the Orlando Magic trying to keep that season alive, but it's down to this.
It is. Come on, Garrett. We got to rally.
I know.
We got to rally for the team.
I was feeling so good about it in the last game when they tied it again at 91, and then it just fell apart from there.
I know. All right, if you're keeping score here, Orlando Magic and Boston Celtics are set for Game 5 of the playoff series tonight. The game will be held at TD Garden in Boston. Tip-off scheduled for 8:30 p.m. Celtics, they've won 3 out of the 4 games against the Magic here in the playoffs. If the Celtics win tonight's game, they will move on to face the winner of the New York Knicks versus Detroit Pistons series in round 2. But we don't even want to talk about that option, right? It's really important for the Magic to win, and I feel like they're kind of the underdog in this situation. A lot of people, I feel like, fans of other teams in the NBA aren't really taking us that seriously. But as someone who has lived here for a few years now, I can say when I first came, they weren't that great of a team. They've really focused on their recruitment. They've focused on building the team, and we are, a team to talk about at this point. So I'm hoping that despite being the underdog in this matchup, that they'll be able to pull it through. I mean, it's been a tough season. The regular season, we dealt with a lot of injuries this past season, but they have still overcome, Garrett, and I think they can do it tonight.
Well, let's hope so. I think there's one thing that we have learned this season is that the Magic, hopefully this offseason, will do a little more to add to the roster than they did before, because I think we have seen with the injuries and just even in this series with seeing Paulo and Franz playing well, but needing other players to step up and not necessarily getting that. So I think you're seeing some of the deficiencies on this team. But one of the other thing is we talked with Tyler Caron from 96.9 The Game earlier today about some of what the Magic need to do as well.
Here's with the Celtics, why I think the Magic have continued to keep these games competitive is the supporting cast in Game 1 and 2 for Boston, the Peyton Pritchards, the Derek White, who had a solid Game 4. Those guys were contained in Game 3 when Orlando came out on top. You have to take your medicine to a point where you know that Jason Tatum is going to be scoring into the 30s. He's going to get his double-digit free throw attempts as he has all series. Jaylen Brown is going to be unconscious at times, forcing his way to the lane and being available for outside shots. But rather than focusing on the head of the snake, this is where you head for the body. How can you keep Peyton Pritchard scoreless like you did in Game 4? How can you keep Sam Hauser off of the bench from being a difference maker from the perimeter? Can you continue to harass Kristaps Porzingis, making him miss shots that generally he makes? I think those are more key factors to watch for tonight.
All right, so we will see 8:30 tip-off in that one. So fingers crossed, and go Magic.
I really wish that they were here playing at the Kia Center, because I know how much of a difference it makes when you have your fans cheering you on versus being up there in Boston. But hopefully they can feel the love from afar.
That's exactly right. Story number 4 today, and Epic Universe previews expanding. Some big news today as you get a live look at the Stardust Racers rolling at Epic Universe.
Oh yeah, the park is officially in its soft opening era, if you will. Effective immediately, tickets are available from today through May 19th for Epic Universe previews. Now, you all know, if you've been keeping up with this here, team members and their families and annual pass holders have been previewing the park for months now, but now it's opened up to the general public. If you're wondering, how much is this going to cost me? Let's talk numbers here, Marlisa. I got you covered. Prices will range between $144 and $154. Then the park will close to previews on May 20th and 21st, because that's the time for invited media to tour the park before the big day, May 22nd. Being the grand opening. You know, this park has been getting a lot of buzz, a lot of attention, and from the people who have already seen it, Garrett, I've heard nothing but good things.
It sounds cool. It looks cool. You heard great things about it. So excited that these previews are expanding, and we'll hopefully more people get to check it out even before it opens. Now, the thing you need to know is that if you are going to the previews, you may not get to experience everything. There may be things that are down. There may be some things that are kind of closed for different reasons. And so that is certainly something to keep in mind. But still, the reduced capacity probably reason enough to try to take advantage of those preview opportunities, because once May 22nd hits and that park officially opens, it is going to be packed for a long time.
I know. Some of our colleagues are going this week, actually, to check it out. So one of our producers is there today. TJ said he's going tomorrow. So they've been pumped about it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of living through them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and we've been in the queue trying to see how long the wait is for tickets. Let me pull that up real quick here. And it looks like it's saying, can we scroll
You're
down
almost
just
there.
a little bit? Almost there, about
Is
halfway through.
that considered almost?
Halfway. 12 more minutes. We can get there.
They're keeping the hope alive for you.
That's right. Well, that is today's Top 4 at 4. Marlisa, we appreciate you joining us. We're going to take a break here on Fox 35 News Plus, but we'll be right back.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist TJ Springer joins me now. And TJ, we hear you're going to be checking out Epic Universe tomorrow, and it sounds like going to be a beautiful day for it.
Yeah, Garrett. It sounds really nice. Today, certainly a little cooler than yesterday, that onshore flow helping that. So I'm kind of happy that it's not the low to mid-90s that we were feeling on Sunday, today or tomorrow, for anyone that has plans to go.
Yeah, that is true, because we've been feeling some of that heat, but some things are changing. We actually have some rain chances this week that we sorely need, probably need more than we're going to get this week, but it's a start.
It's a start. Yeah, anything in the positive direction we'll certainly take, but yeah, Mother Nature really needs to give us a drink here in Central Florida, because the lawns, everything needs it, as we're in this extreme drought across some of our communities here, and a severe drought for many of us. We've only had 37/100ths of an inch of rain since the start of the month. We're now ranked at a 14th. We've been ticking up ever so slightly here since this past weekend. If we don't get any rain today or tomorrow, which we're likely not going to see any rain, today we had that slim chance with an onshore flow, but it's really been favoring our Gulf Coast communities. Today, tomorrow look dry, so I'm sure we're going to rank even a little higher here for the month. We've only had 4 days with measurable precipitation throughout April thus far, but at least it looks pretty, right? And actually not too many people out on the beaches right now, shockingly enough. That's a live look in Daytona Beach from our Hard Rock Hotel cam. We are going to see plenty of sunshine as high pressure starts to build back in as we progress through the next couple of days. And with that ridging, we're going to start to rebound with our temperatures. You can see some of those showers and storms off closer to Tampa, but overall we are dry across central Florida. We've really been seeing a lack of rain today after being a little unsettled yesterday with that weak frontal boundary that was sliding to the south. You can see some of those showers across South Florida as well, but really the big story in the weather world has been that cold front off to our northwest that did produce some tornado warnings earlier today across places like the Ozarks, but that boundary, at least for now, not going to be any sort of big impact to us, but eventually it's going to try to sneak our way, and chances for rain are going to start to go up as we progress into our weekend. We'll talk about that in a moment. Temperatures today, no 90s like we had over the last few days. We have temperatures in the 70s actually across some of our coastal neighborhoods with that onshore flow. Readings in the middle 80s in Orlando, 85 in Leesburg. It is a 79 in Palm Coast. Tonight we're back down into the low to mid 60s. It'll feel a little bit better as you're waking up tomorrow, getting out. We'll see just a few clouds from time to time, and then for our day tomorrow, a little warmer than where we were today. Lots of sunshine with highs back in the middle and upper 80s inland, with temperatures still closer to the 80-degree mark along the coast. Now, as we head through the remainder of our day on our Fox model, you can see those stray showers. Still a couple are possible closer to the I-75 corridor, but again, we're not seeing that now, so we might really be hard-pressed to see much rain even there, really confining those stray showers to essentially the Gulf Coast beaches. As we progress through the remainder of the night, we'll continue to see those working westbound, drier air settling back in, and we'll see really a starry night as we head into our the wee hours of our Wednesday. Then our morning drive tomorrow looks good. Wednesday afternoon looks great. Overall, the atmosphere is dry, even with that onshore flow. Really not going to see any sort of sea breeze-driven showers for our Wednesday. And it looks like that trend going to continue as we head through late week. No issues for that evening drive on our hump day either. Now, if you do have plans to get out to Epcot, the Flower and Garden Festival is still in full bloom, upper 70s by late morning, in the middle 80s by 2. No issues for Luminous, the Symphony of Us. It's always a beautiful show. That's their fireworks spectacular over at Epcot. Always hits you in the feels. Now, as we look forward to the first week of May and beyond, some good news. You can see the shades of green across some of the peninsula. That's a chance at above normal precipitation, and that continues deeper into the month as we head through the 7th through the 13th time frame. Definitely looking like we'll have a dip in the jet stream situated across the southeast. That means rain chances could be a little higher. So anything we get with that will start to eat away at that drought little by little, but we badly need the rain. Temperatures likely back into the upper 80s as we head through our Thursday, nearly 90 Friday, then I think in the 90s ahead of this cold front that moves our way and brings some chances for showers and thunderstorms, Garrett, as we head through Saturday, Sunday, into early next week. So I don't think there'll be washouts, anyone that has plans, maybe at the parks, the beaches, any festivals, but still may want to have the umbrella and the rain jacket if anyone's heading out over the weekend.
Yeah, it's certainly something to keep in mind, because for the longest time we haven't had to worry about that, but we are starting to head back into that time of year, and so got to get back in those habits and patterns.
Yeah, we need the rainy season, especially with the drought, so hopefully many neighborhoods can see some rain and get some downpours as we head through the weekend.
All right, just not tomorrow when you're at Epic Universe.
It's just not tomorrow. Mother Nature, please, no rain on Wednesday.
All right, Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist TJ Springer, we appreciate you joining us.
Thanks, Garrett.
We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. So I want to get you inside this live news conference going on at the Kennedy Space Center, where Associated Builders and Contractors Florida East Coast, which is a group that represents commercial contractors and others in that industry, are signing a memorandum of understanding with Space Florida. They're talking about building Florida's construction workforce and trying to foster some partnerships and growth when it comes to aerospace and other space industries. So we are listening into this news conference. This is an official from Lockheed Martin speaking right now. Let's go ahead and listen in for a couple of minutes here at this news conference going on live.
Manufacturing facility. These facilities have clean rooms within clean rooms, right? So if we don't have the best, building and construction labor available, we're not getting the job done. The same thing goes for our suppliers, right? If we're not expanding that talent pool, which is why we're working with State Florida and the state so closely on this, we're not getting the job done. We need our suppliers to have the talent they need. We need the ADC companies to have the talent that they need in order to get the job done, because going to the moon and beyond is a big mission, right? So Lockheed's very happy to be a part of this effort, and we appreciate Space Florida involving us. We were very intentional when we set up the space academies, and we were looking at the state's master credential list, to include the building trades, because in Florida this is a space job, right? And so the main message we want to get out there, and we keep beating that drum, is if you're a young person or you're in the workforce and you're looking for a career pivot and you want to be a part of the space industry, we can figure out a way for you to be a part of the space industry. And that could be through training the ADC offers. It could be through adult education. It could be through your local state college. So we want to thank the state of Florida, continue to support CTE, and you'll always have a partner in Lockheed Martin. So thank you, Space Florida, for what you're doing today.
So it's with that perspective, so we're moving forward always with having, but you all as contractors and subcontractors, your input is as valuable of how what the needs are for the workforce and generating that. So we need your input as well. So at this point, what we'd like to do is and thank you again, Mike and Brian. We'd love to bring up Peter. We're going to go into the particulars about ABC. Many of you know, but we also want to be able to share this with Space Florida. As we heard on the Space Florida side, now we want to hear the ABC side. So I would love to bring up President and CEO of ABC Florida East Coast Chapter. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you. All right, so enter ABC, right? I mean, first off, I want to thank Rob and Mike and Karen and the whole Space Florida team as well. To be standing here today and talking about what we're talking about is beyond exciting for us. ABC has a 75 years celebrating bringing commercial, institutional, and industrial contractors together. And we've had a 30-year commitment to the Space Coast area as an organization. We have a full-time electrical apprenticeship program here. We have a full-time employee. We have 12 events or more a year up here. We've had a long-standing commitment to this area. It's a challenge for our particular chapter because our chapter region covers from MIMS down to Key West. So we have a large region, but we are the state of Florida's single largest provider of apprenticeship education. And at the same time, there's two parallel problems in our industry. One is where are those advanced skills coming from, because when you're building the kind of buildings the space industry is building, you're not doing that with all entry-level people. You need very talented, skilled people. And that's really what apprenticeship and what the ABC Institute and ABC does. At the same time, we have a problem in the industry about where's the entry-level workforce. And I'm proud to say that this is
You hear this news conference continuing at the Kennedy Space Center is Space Florida, and the group representing the Associated Builders and Contractors talking from their perspective about this partnership and continuing to grow the profession and the industry as well. We're going to take a quick break here on Fox 35 News Plus, but we will be right back after this.
watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. I'm Garrett Wymer. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday afternoon, live on Fox Local and on YouTube. I want to bring in Fox 35's Marie Edinger, who is joining us live now via Zoom. We're going to talk about a couple of different stories with you, Marie, but I want to start here. I know you've been looking into this alleged assault in Eustis. What can you tell us about that situation and where things stand?
Sure. So we got an update today about that. And I'll just back up and explain the story before I explain the update. The story was, excuse me, that a seventh grader, a 12-year-old boy, had allegedly been grabbed. He described it as choked, but he kind of said it was more like grabbing his neck, and he panicked about it. That made it hard to breathe. More so the panic of being grabbed rather than actually restricting his airways, just to be clear about that, by a school administrator who was going after his phone. So the situation was the school administrator, and this is all according to police reports and reports done by the school district looking into this. So we have this verified from several different scopes. But the school administrator said she was going over because she saw some kids throwing food. She thought it was chips. They said it was a ketchup packet. In any case, she went and said that they were going to be disciplined. And the kid who's the subject of all this, his name's Kylan Williams, he has never been in trouble before. So he called his mom just saying like, hey, I'm being sent to the principal's office. I might get detention. You're not allowed to have your phone. And so the administrator went and said, put your phone down. At the same time, though, his mom is telling him, like, put me on speakerphone. I want to talk to this woman. What's going on? The school administrator then tried to grab the phone from him. And we can see on video that she does in trying to grab him. It looks like she touches his neck as he described and as police described, and then also kind of puts her arms around him. So the mother wanted this woman fired. She wanted her arrested for battery. She was up in arms about this. The school administrator was placed on paid administrative leave. She was sent, I now know, this was an update we got today, she was sent to work at a bus lot during this investigation. The school district has now concluded their portion of the investigation. They said, yes, this did happen. She did grab him inappropriately, and but it said she didn't do it maliciously. She didn't seem to be intending to cause harm, but that she shouldn't have done it anyway, and that she shouldn't have been going after the phone like that in the first place, that she should have just said, you're going to have to go to detention, and left it at that. So she was placed on unpaid suspension for 3 days. That was up yesterday, but she's also not permitted to return to Eustis Middle School. And when I asked the school district whether she will be transferred to another school instead, they said no. So it looks like her time, at least at Eustis Middle, is over. I talked with the mom today. She has kind of mixed feelings. Overall, she's happy that her son is able to go to school without the threat of encountering this woman that he's now afraid of. At the same time, though, she really wanted criminal charges pressed, and Eustis police said that they will not be pursuing that.
And so what's next for this mother? Is she still continuing to push for more here?
She is. She's still in talks with the Department of Education. So she's bringing this up to Tallahassee. She wants further action taken. She wants to make sure that this administrator is not able to be in further schools. And so she wants this woman's certification stripped. And then she is also still really, really wanting criminal charges for battery pressed. So she's been trying to find workarounds with the state attorney's office to see if Eustis police are not going to pursue this. Is there anything else she could do to argue for that?
All right. Now to switch stories here, I want to talk about another thing you've been looking into today, and that is following up on this tragic crash involving the 16-year-old who was hit and killed while crossing the street outside Oak Ridge High School yesterday. And you can now report that the county looking into some potential changes in that area.
Yes. So I brought up in my reporting yesterday that there is not a school speed zone in that area. Um, I did not know that those aren't standard for high schools. So just to give you kind of a picture of the area, there is the marking that says school on the road, and there is a one of those monitors that tells you how fast you're going, but there aren't those blinking lights that say school zone 20 miles an hour, or even the signs that say school zone, go this speed at these times that you might see. None of that. It's just 45 miles an hour down that road all day, every day. And it turns out that according to FDOT's manual, for school zones and for speed zones of any kind, high schools are not automatically given a school speed zone. They are for elementary and middle school, but for high schools, there has to be an engineering study done and there has to be a justification for having the school zone. Essentially, it's unsafe enough that high schoolers, even though they know how to use crosswalks and even though they're a little bit more mature and know to look both ways or whatever it may be, that the impact to traffic would that the impact to safety would outweigh the impact to traffic, essentially. So there isn't one there. And Commissioner Myra Uribe, I talked with her about this today. She said two things. Firstly, she said she wants cameras put up to enforce the speed automatically. So Orange County got approved a couple of years ago to install those cameras, traffic cameras, that make sure that you're not speeding. And that's outside school specifically. But I brought up, okay, if they're put there, that's still just going to hold people to 45 miles an hour. Would you want a school zone put in there? And she said yes. She said she is talking with FDOT about that, and that she hopes to push that forward. I brought up that that would take time because you have to have that engineering study done. And I'll mention, she says she's talking with FDOT, but FDOT told me that's really going to be a county issue. The county would have to be the one that plans and funds and carries out that engineering study, justifying that they need to have a school speed zone there. So that's going to be at least a somewhat lengthy process. She's saying they could at least get the cameras in pretty quickly in the meantime while that's all going on, to know that people aren't going above 45 miles an hour while they get the process done to bring it down to 20 miles an hour during the school zone.
All right. So certainly a lot of hoops to jump through, it sounds like, to get some of these additional steps put in place.
Yeah, but it's something that tons of people in the neighborhood have been saying for years is needed. Commissioner Uribe actually told me today that the county has gotten calls about this area in the past. That is a super busy road. It's 4 lanes, kind of 5 if you include the turn lanes. It's pretty wide and people fly down there. So I was talking with people all day yesterday who live in that area and kept hearing again and again that it's unsafe there, that people drive fast, that it's really busy, that high schoolers come out in droves, not always at the same time. Some of them show up late, some of them leave early, some of them have clubs. So there's a lot of kids walking around there. So they've been saying they want action taken, and Commissioner Uribe says she's going to do that.
Which, you're talking about what we've heard from folks in that area kind of makes it even more shocking that there isn't already a speed zone, a school zone there, and that something hasn't been done to this point yet. If there have been that many complaints and questions over it over the years. Well, Fox 35's Marie Ettinger, we appreciate you looking into that, and thanks for joining us here on Fox 35 News Plus.
Thanks so much for having me.
We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus. I'm Garrett Wymer. Thanks for joining us. A 32-year-old Maine man has been arrested and charged with threatening to kill a Flagler County teenager and his family. Threats that investigators say were made over a video game. Earlier today, I had the chance to speak with Flagler County Sheriff Rick Staley, who walked us through what we know about this case. So this is an interesting case here, a 2.5-year investigation that ends with someone who lives halfway across the country now behind bars.
Well, that's true. You know, a lot of people think they can be a keyboard warrior and make all kinds of threats and do what they do on a keyboard, and you can't be caught. Well, I have a cyber crimes unit, and I have a great digital forensics unit. And this individual found out that you can't get away. It may take some time, like it did in this case, because we have to rely on subpoenas and private companies answering those subpoenas, and quite often that triggers a second round of subpoenas. So it takes some time, and then we have to analyze it. But you know, when we've identified who this keyboard warrior was and got the data in from the subpoenas, we worked with the local sheriff's office and police department in Maine, and I sent detectives up there. So we will go wherever you are. If you're going to make a threat to kill someone in our county or blow up their house or kill their family, we're going to get you. It may take a little time, but we will get you, and we will go to where you are to make sure that happens.
And this is the suspect, 32-year-old James Maynard of Pittsfield, Maine. What can you tell us about this situation? Because it sounds like these were pretty violent, pretty serious threats made against someone over the Xbox network.
Problems with gamers in gaming. You know, most people that do this, 99% of them are fine, but then arguments happen. And so they get behind these keyboards and they start making arguments, and then they say things that they're going to regret later, which is what this young man found out. So, you know, play your games, whatever you're doing, but don't lose your temper, because in Florida, we take it serious and we will go after you. And it is a crime to make a threat to kill someone or place a bomb, those kind of things.
Is that how this started, an argument over a video game?
That's our understanding. We don't have the exact details on what triggered it, but this individual had been in an argument with our victim back in July of 2022. Then he changed his online name, despite our victim trying to block him and do those kind of things to protect themselves. And our victim at the time was a juvenile who reported it to his father, who called us.
It's certainly a serious situation. What challenges do investigations like this create for your agency when you're talking about you know, the technology platforms, the distance, all of those things? What sort of challenges kind of come up in a case like this?
Well, all of those are challenges, as you just described, not only the distance, but trying to find the digital footprint and verify who is the keyboard warrior. And all of those take time to do, and it takes technology, and it takes trained investigators. And unfortunately, a lot of agencies around the country do not have this capability. But we know that if we can find the digital footprint of the individual, the criminal, we can find them. It takes a lot of work. They do a lot of things to try to hide their identity. But you may recall about a year ago, we extradited an 11-year-old from Virginia for threatening, basically he was an online terrorist, to our school system at the end of the last school year. So we take this serious. We have the capability, and we will do everything we can to bring a case to an arrest.
You talked about the victim in this case. Was a teenager at the time?
That's correct.
So you talked about this teenager trying to block the suspect, but the suspect continuing to change their profile. and yet the victim also talked about this with his parents, and they were able to bring this to you. So what is the message here to parents and to other kids out there who play these video games and communicate with other people on there?
So for parents, the message would be know what your kids are doing online and be engaged with them. Not just be a friend, but be the parent. Know they can come to you when things are going wrong, especially online, before they get attacked or extortion occurs. All different kinds of things can occur on the internet. And to the kids, ideally know who you're gaming with. Now that's not always going to be possible because you could be gaming with somebody anywhere in the country and anywhere in the world. But try to get to know this person and identify. Now, don't send them your pictures if they ask for inappropriate pictures, things like that. Don't do that because you're going to fall prey to another crime like sextortion. But in this case, there was some interaction both by voice and by photo. And then our victim was able to recognize the voice from the July incident to the October incident, and was able to pick out our suspect in a photo lineup. And then we have all the digital technology that took us to prove who was doing it.
We're going to take a break here on Fox 35 News Plus, but we'll be right back.
You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Welcome back into Fox 35 News Plus, a live look at the Stardust Racers at Epic Universe, where Universal today announcing they have expanded previews of Epic Universe. Now anyone can purchase a preview ticket. You don't have to be a pass holder or a team member anymore. There are still some dates available. Here's a live look that we just got in to the ticket queue to purchase. You see tickets available starting at $144 and ranging up to $154 for a couple of the weekend days. Earlier today on Florida Live, Theron White, lead publisher of EYNTK.info, joined us live from Epic Universe to talk about the big announcement.
Yeah, you just saw Stardust Racers from the outside, and here it is quite again. We right behind me. It's still rolling here in the park. It's only running one side today, but again, we're in preview, so that happens.
But some big news when it comes to previews, because we know some more people going to get access to the park before it officially opens on May 22nd. So tell us what we need to know.
Yeah, so anyone right now, anyone in the general public can buy a ticket to visit Universal Epic Universe for any of the leftover days. They could be sold out by the time you're hearing this, but for any of those days up until May 19th. Now, there's slightly different pricing depending on if it's a weekend or depending on what day you're doing. That being said, if you're someone and you don't want to buy a hotel room or you don't have the annual pass, you don't have the military pass, that's okay. You can buy a ticket to visit Universal Epic Universe as of tomorrow. I mean, you could buy it right now. Be right here tomorrow.
That's pretty exciting. We just pulled up a couple of minutes ago the tickets page, and it's giving a 17-minute estimated wait time, which is more than we were seeing earlier. So it seems like there is certainly demand for this, certainly a lot of excitement for this now being opened up to more people.
Yeah, the news is getting out quick. I don't know how many tickets they're going to have. From what we are aware of, from it sounds like from the rumors, is that they're still going to be doing a reduced capacity because, again, the park is not officially open. So some rides could be down. Some shows might not be operating. But, I mean, this is now my 5th time in the park for these previews. Almost everything is operating. The only thing that's going to give you a little bit more difficulty will be trying to get on the Harry Potter battle at the Ministry of Attraction that requires that virtual queue. But, I mean, the restaurants are open. The shows are open. The park is here. And, I mean, it is quite nice to be able to get into this park before it's at full capacity.
Yeah, I was going to ask about what folks can expect. You have been there now several times, and I'm just curious kind of what the differences you have maybe seen in some of your visits.
Yeah, so when I first came here, there were certain rides that just were not running at 100%. So the Monsters Unchained attraction had a lot of downtimes. Of course, that can still happen on a normal day, even once the park is open. But I'm seeing a lot more uptimes for a majority of these attractions. Because it's early preview, there is always the chance that they could be filming on some of the rides or in some of the shops, so you should know about that. But generally, I mean, all of the park is really operating. Every time I've gone and seen a show now, it's been a lot better. When I saw some of their initial shows, like the Cirque Arcanu, which is a fantastic show in the Harry Potter section, the first time I saw it, they were having a lot of issues, a lot of things when they were initially testing it out. But now I've seen the show again since, ran flawlessly, went to the queue quick. It was great.
And so the ticket prices we've seen $144 to $154 a day. For these for non-pass holders right now. Still worth it with it being in previews and maybe not necessarily knowing what you may or may not be able to experience?
I think 100%, because yes, you're kind of guessing on certain things and you don't know for 100%. That being said, the reduced capacity is so nice. And once this park opens and it gets even more famous, this place, I'm sure, is going to be slammed throughout this summer and this upcoming year and continuing. I like these previews a lot. It feels so less stressful, especially days like today where the park didn't open till 11. I don't know. I kind of like just being able to walk into the park. I don't have to get here until 10:30. You go in, you get to go enjoy a nice meal. The park is open until 9. You know, it's just, I feel like it takes a lot of the stress out of it. Now, if you're only visiting here once, of course, I don't expect to do every single attraction. Don't expect to do every single show. But I think because it is a preview, you're going to be able to really, really enjoy what you can get to do.
And what kind of, I know we asked you, I think it may have been your first visit, what kind of stood out to you, but has that changed at all as far as what your favorite aspects of the park are?
So Celestial Park is still my favorite. I just love the fact that it is so beautiful. It's so gorgeous. You can walk around and just enjoy it. But I've learned to love a lot of other little details inside of the park. I'm actually heading right now into Super Nintendo World. The gamification of this land is so cool. And I think that's one thing that pass holders are going to end up loving. Because you can come here again and again and play these games and go and try out different things and see some of the characters. That's a part that I've really learned to love. And I mean, this land, it has a lot to it. It is colorful, it's bright, it's full of life. Super Nintendo World is truly incredible. I understand why it's been so popular across the world.
Which of the worlds, is it Super Nintendo World that in your visits has kind of been the biggest draw, you think, for folks?
100%. Super Nintendo World is always the busiest thing here. Usually the rides, meeting the characters, going to get the food, it dominates the park when it comes to the wait times. Can't give an exact estimate yet on the Harry Potter battle at the Ministry attraction, just because that is a virtual queue and we don't know exactly. But I mean, you can see behind me, it's quite popular here, even in previews with reduced capacity.
Yeah. I love the immersive nature of it, and just how it really does look like you just stepped right into a video game, just with a few steps of going through that portal.
Oh, 100%. We started this call and we were out in Celestial Park. It's beautiful. You've got stained glass, you've got a carousel. And now you look behind me and I might as well have jumped right into the Super Nintendo World video game. We've got the characters, we've got the people playing behind us. And I mean, this is just one section. There's the Donkey Kong section. There's even more. There's a lot of things to explore in just this one land. And of course, there's 5 altogether.
All right, good stuff. Theron White, lead publisher of EYNTK.info. We appreciate you taking the time to talk with us from Epic Universe this afternoon, and hope you enjoy the rest of your day out there.
Thank you so much. Please keep your fingers crossed so I can get that virtual queue for Harry Potter. Haven't gotten on yet. I hope to get back to you guys soon and tell you how great it was.
And an unfortunate update because he did not get on the virtual queue. That was during our live interview at 2. So maybe next time we'll keep crossing our fingers for him. But it is a beautiful day to be out there at the park or whatever else you might be doing on this Tuesday afternoon. Just a beautiful day. And if you are looking to purchase those preview tickets, here's a look right now. There are still those dates available through May 19th. So there are tickets available from now through the 19th. And then if you look, the 22nd is when the grand opening of Epic Universe is. That is Memorial Day weekend. So just a few weeks away from the official opening of that, but the previews continue, and tickets available $144, $149, $154, depending on the day. And again, these are open to anyone. You don't have to be a pass holder anymore to experience these previews at Epic Universe going on now. Well, we appreciate you joining us here for Fox 35 News Plus. That's going to do it for us this afternoon. It's been a busy day. We've had a lot of live interviews on our shows today. If you missed any of them, you can always go to Fox Local, the app on your phone, the app on your TV as well, or go to fox35orlando.com. We have our own video tab there as well, where you can watch all of our Fox 35 News Plus segments from the day. You can also join us weekdays every day, 11 a.m., 2 p.m., and 4 p.m. for Fox 35 News Plus and for Florida Live. But that's going to do it for us. Going to go ahead and send things out to Studio B for the start of Fox 35 News at 5, where you can see there John and Luann getting ready for the start of the newscast, and looks like tracking the news of some high-profile backers of the Dreamers that have been revealed this afternoon, according to some reports. So we'll have those details and a whole lot more coming up on Fox 35 News at 5, which begins in just seconds right here on Fox Local. So keep it here for more news. Thanks for joining us.
Fox 35 News starts now with breaking news.
Our breaking news at 5 o'clock, the Orlando Dreamers now one step closer to becoming a reality. We've just learned which local billionaire is backing the team. It's Dr. Rick Workman. He's the founder of Heartland Dental, and he is the anchor investor for the Dreamers. The Dreamers announced last week that they had raised $2.5 billion towards acquiring a franchise and building a